Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. I see Amanda, Rachel, Daniel, Ed, and Jeanette. Belinda, how you doing? Dennis, how's everything going with you guys? Hopefully, everything is doing great. Um, my name is Louis Tornes Jr., agency owner of LTDT Insurance, and I'm here on another exciting Monday morning mastery training. Where today we are going to be talking about becoming a trusted advisor. Folks, this is one thing that we need to make sure when we talk, I don't care what line of business you're in, it's something that we need to start doing to make sure our clients trust us, because really that's what this business is all about. Let me get some of these announcements out of the way. Okay. Starting off with, I want to congratulate Rachel for 3 years working with LTDT Insurance. She has been a big plus to my company, and I appreciate everything she does. Uh, there you go. Let me throw this in here. There you go. You put anything in the chat, I can put it up here also. Again, it's not a big thing, but I like to recognize people when they do stuff. So thank you very much. Thank you. Jeanette loves you too. See that? So Rachel's been with me 3 years, and it's been, like it says, 3 amazing years. So I appreciate her a lot. So I can't. I mean, I could talk and spend an hour talking about her, but we won't do that because I'll bore you guys to death. She'll love it, but all right. Just to remind everyone, of course, these are our topics for our Monday Mastery training coming up. Today's becoming a trusted advisor. Story tells us sell next week. Cross-selling, billing. We'll take a week off for Labor Day, and then 2 more sessions after that, and we'll be working on those things. Let me see what else I have here. Okay, for those of you, I believe there's a couple of you that attended my last training we did last week. But we're going to do this one on Wednesday. This is going to be one I'm going to set up. There's not really a lot of information that helped the agents understand. I think you got the basic idea of the training, those that attended. But this is going to go into more detail about what you get out of this thing, not so much what the training does. I mean, we're going to go through a little bit about it. But more importantly, it's about let me do something here. I don't know why this thing got funky. All right. Well, anyway, we're going to talk more about what's going on with the training itself and how you can get involved and exactly the next process. So this is going to be a lot more in detail. So if you missed it or you want to know more about it, you have to register. Okay. Oops. Let me do something here. So registration is required. If you should have got an email to register. It is a brand new link, so that is not the same link. It is a link for this thing. It's an opportunity to make some additional money. You don't need a license to do this. It's a referral program, but it's pretty not bad money. So we'll go through a lot of this on Wednesday. And as always, if you miss any of these classes, since June 1st, I've been putting these things up on YouTube. So you can go to my YouTube channel. You can either do a search of LTDT Mastery Training, or you can go youtube.com at Louis Tornes Jr. And that'll get you there. Uh, Let me see what's going on. Da 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 da. So, and again, I just want to remind everyone, September 25th, Owen Insurance AEP kickoff party. We're going to be going out there and out to the Flagler Center in Stewart, downtown Stewart, and that's from 10:30 to 3 o'clock. And I want to make sure you guys are aware of this, but it's going to be. We usually have a good time. I haven't missed one yet since they started it. So let's keep that goal going. If anybody is in Southwest Florida and wants to tag up with me, we'll be leaving. I think it's At 7 o'clock in the morning, we'll be leaving out to Stewart, Florida. So anybody interested in riding with me, we'll be meeting out there in Publix near Palm Beach Car Boulevard, State Route 80. So without everything, let's go ahead and go into our presentation of the day. Let me go over here. Whoops, what happened here? Let's try this one. There you go. All right, sorry about that, folks. All right, there we go. Now we're rocking. Boy, we got a little disorganized this morning, but that's okay. We're here to have fun. So every once in a while, it's a good thing to not do perfect, not be perfect. No one said I was perfect. As a matter of fact, I fall way short sometimes. But today's not about learning a clever closing line. It's about becoming the kind of agent people trust before, during, and after the enrollment. By the end, every agent will leave with a repeatable way to listen, diagnose, explain, recommend, and follow through. A trusted advisor does more than sell plans. A trusted advisor helps people make decisions they can live with. And that's what this is all about today. Quote of the day: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's funny because for those of you who are in the Monday Morning Mojo call, it's basically the same thing. It's what you care about. Clients expect us to understand insurance. They expect us to know the plans, the benefits, the costs, the networks, and the rules. But knowledge alone doesn't create trust. Before the client listens to our recommendations, they're asking, are you listening to me? Do you understand my concerns? Are you recommending what's best for me or what's easier for you? Will you still help me after the enrollment? That's why trust begins before the recommendation. It begins when we slow down, ask good questions, take notes, and listen without interrupting. It grows when we explain choices clearly, admit when we need to verify something, and never pressure our clients. Our knowledge gives us credibility, but how we treat people give us their trust. When clients generally feel that we care, we become more comfortable sharing information. That allows us to make a better recommendation, protect them more efficiently, and build relationships that lead to renewals and referrals, which we talked about last week. That is the LTDT Insurance way. Remember, take care of the people, and the people will take care of you. So specifically, what behavior can help an agent move from simple knowing insurance to become someone a client truly trusts? That's what we're going to talk about. This slide summarizes the goal of every conversation. Whether the client enrolls today or needs more time, they should leave feeling three things: understood, protected, and supported. Let's talk about understood. The client should feel that we listened before we explained. We asked about their doctors, their medications, their budgets, their travel, family concerns, and what matters the most. People trust when they feel heard, not when we give the longest presentation. Second, protected. Our recommendations must fit the client's real risk. We don't select a plan because it's popular or has the lowest premium or easy to sell. We explain the benefits, the costs, the limitations, and the trade-offs because a client can make an informed decision that way. Third, support it. The relationship doesn't end after enrollment. The client should know that if there's a confusing letter, it shows up, or an ID card is missing, or a doctor needs to change a doctor, or a billing issue which appears, we'll still be there. Which of these three feelings, let me ask you all, which of these three feelings do clients remember the longest? Any questions, answers? Okay. Well, before the client leaves, ask yourself, did the person feel heard? Does the recommendation truly protect them? Or do they know what happens next and who to call? When the answer to all these three questions is a yes, we have served the client the LTDT insurance way. Now let's look at the difference between presenting a product and diagnosing a person's need. This slide is not saying that selling is wrong. We're all in sales, whether you know it or not. Okay? The important difference is the order in which we work. On the left, the salesperson starts with a product. They talk about the benefits, move quickly, and try to win the enrollment today. The danger is that the prescriptions or the presentation can sound polished while still missing the client's real needs. On the right, the trusted advisor starts with a person. They ask the questions before explaining. They connect the recommendations to the client's priorities. The goal is not to only complete an enrollment. It is to build a relationship. A good doctor doesn't walk into the room holding one prescription for every patient. What does a doctor do? He asks questions, reviews the facts, and then recommends a treatment. Insurance advice should work the same way. Think about this. What does a client hear when we jump straight into benefits? You know what they hear? They hear pressure, a pitch, confusion, or a one-size-fits-all solution. Our goal is simple. Diagnose before you present. When the client can see how an advice connects to what they told us, our recommendations become easier to understand and trust. Diagnosing well is not a personal trait. It comes from four repeated behaviors. These four behaviors are the backbone of becoming a trusted advisor. Listen, clarify, guide, and follow through. Listen means hearing the whole story. Do not plan your answers while a client is speaking. Pay attention to the concerns behind the words and leave enough silence for the client to finish. Use these two things. Listen. Clarify. It means confirming what matters. Repeat the concern in plain language. Let me make sure I understood you correctly, and then explain it to them. This prevents us from solving the wrong problem, which is maybe a common issue with some. Guide means explaining choices honestly. A guide shows both the road and the hazards. We should explain what an option does well, where the client could pay more, and what they may have to give up in exchange. Follow through. It means doing what we promised. If we say we're going to check a doctor or call a carrier or send a document or follow up on Tuesday, we must close that loop. Choose the behavior they are most likely to skip when you're busy. Which one of these things would you skip? What helps you make that behavior automatic? Trust is rarely created by one dramatic moment. It is built through small, consistent actions that clients experience again and again. Clients rarely begin with one complete problem. Their first question is often the doorway, not the destination. The client asks, which is the best plan? Stop and listen. If we answer too quickly, we may list additional benefits. But when the client may be really asking the following: can I afford a mistake? Will my doctors be covered? Will you help me if something goes wrong? The words are about the plan. The emotions underneath may be fear, uncertainty, or need of support. Before we compare plans, what matters most to you about your coverage? That's a great question to ask. And then pause. Do not rescue the silence. Give the client time to think. Another useful response is when you say best, okay, to the question of which plan is best. When you say best, what would make a plan best for you? That one question can reveal whether the client cares most about their doctors, their medications, their monthly costs, their travel, their dental benefits, or predictable expenses. Whatever it is, go ahead and answer those questions. Give them the time to ask the questions. Common examples might include: is it free? Which we all know there's nothing for free. Because even you may have a zero premium plan, but it's not free. You got to pay for the co-pays and the co-insurance and everything else. Do I get dental? Can I keep doctors? That, for each one, ask what deeper concern may be underneath that question. In other words, is there something else that we're missing here? This is a good time to correct the question, which is the key point. Correct the question. Don't correct the question. Explore it. Ask, pause, and listen. Once we reach the real needs, stronger discovery questions help us build stronger recommendations. All right? So strong questions prevent weak recommendations. These are 5 questions covering change, access, budget, risk, and freedom. Number 1. What changed since we last spoke? Never assume, as we go into AEP and OEP, especially in the health insurance, never assume last year's facts are still true. Health, income, doctors, prescription, travel needs, and family support can change. Which doctors and medications must we protect? Great question. The word must helps identify what's non-negotiable. Verify the information rather than relying on memory. What cost feels comfortable each month? This gives us a client's budget. but monthly premiums is only one part of the total. Keep that in mind. What unexpected cost worries you the most? Now, this question reveals the risk tolerance. One client may fear a hospital bill. Another one may be worried about medication costs or frequent copays. How much freedom and flexible do you want? This opens the conversation about a network referral, travel, and access to providers. Do not fire these questions like an interrogation. Explain why you are asking. Take notes. After the client answers, summarize it. Here's what I heard. Keeping Dr. Smith is essential. You want a predictable cost and you travel 3 months each year. Did I get that right? Great question. Now, which one of these questions would improve your next client's conversation the most? Either one of these will. Make sure you ask them. Now, we organize those answers into 3 areas: cost, access, and protection. A good doctor, like I said before, doesn't prescribe before examining the patient. A trusted insurance advisor should not recommend before completing the needs analysis. We can access that analysis into 3 simple areas: cost, access, and protection. Cost is more than the monthly premium. Review premiums, co-pays, deductibles, when applicable, drug costs, and maximum exposure. A zero premium plan, as I mentioned before, is not a zero cost healthcare year. Access means the providers and the services the client can realistically use. Verify your doctors, your hospitals, your pharmacies, the networks, referrals, and travel needs. A plan can have excellent benefits on paper and still be a poor fit for the client if they can't use the providers they need. Protection. Ask what happens in a bad health year. If a client has more visits or tests or outpatient procedures or a hospital stay, how predictable are the costs? Does that option match the client's comfort with their financial risk? One client may prefer a low monthly premium and accept a pay-as-you-go cost. Another maybe prefers predictable monthly payments and greater freedom. Neither preferences is automatically wrong. Our job is to identify the fit for that client. Very important, document the client's priorities and the reason for the recommendation. Good notes protect the client, the agent, and LTDT Insurance. Once we identify the fit, we must explain the options honestly, including what the client gives up. Clear advice includes the possible cost, and the trade-offs. A trusted advisor does not hide the downside. Use this 4-part structure. Here is what option does well. Start with the strengths that match the client's priorities. Here's what you could pay. Explain the copays, the deductibles, the drug costs, other exposures in plain English or Spanish if you're talking in Spanish. Or German if you're talking German, whatever it is. in their plain language. Here's what you give up in exchange. This may involve a narrow network, maybe referrals, less travel flexibility, a high monthly premium, or more out-of-pocket risk. And based on your priorities, this is why I recommend it. Bring the conversation back to the client's own words. When explaining the trade-offs, we're not talking the client out of a plan. We are helping the client make an informed decision. Surprise destroys trust. Clear expectations build it. Give you an example. You can say something like, this option has a lower monthly premium, but you may pay more when you use the services. And you may need to stay within your network because keeping your specialists is your top priority. Our first will verify that they participate. Honest advice still has to be understandable. Our next job is to make sure that insurance language is simple without leaving out what matters. So, simple language is a service. It doesn't mean we're removing important information. It means translating insurance terms, what they mean for the client. Instead of talking about MOOPs or maximum out of pockets, say, this is the most you could pay for covered medical services during the year. Then explain what it is and what is not included when reveling. For example, the premium is not included in there. It's very important for the clients to know that. Formulary tiers. Explain it this way. The tiers is one of the factors the plan uses to determine what you pay for your medications. Keep it simple. Do use the word formulary tiers, but explain it because they're going to see that in the documentation. You need to explain both things. When you see prior authorization, explain the plan may need to approve the service or medication before it's covered. Again, simple explanation. The formula is give them the terms, translate the terms, and explain why it matters to the client. Then use teach back. Say, just so I know you understand, can you explain it back to me and clearly? How would you explain it in your own words? Notice the wording, okay? We're not testing the explanation. We're not testing or embarrassing the client. So make sure you say this in a fluent way just to make sure they understand. If the client can't explain it back, that's a signal that we need to try another example. If we can't compare networks to a team roster or prior authorities to getting approved before they can use it or get that work, we need to look at it. Now, once the client understands the facts, we can make recommendations that sound personal, not canned. This is where discovery becomes advice. A strong recommendation sounds personal because it repeats the client's priorities before naming the options. So a great way to start is, based on what you told me, blah, 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 blah. That phrase makes the logic visible. Then click on the priorities. Your doctors are the priority. That's what you told me. You want predictable cost. And you travel several months a year. Finally, connect those facts into recommendations. That's why I would recommend this option. The client should be able to hear their own story inside the recommendation. If the same recommendation could be delivered word for word to every client, it wouldn't be as personal, or not, it would probably not personal enough. Let's compare these two statements. A weak one. This is our most popular plan. Just because it's popular, don't make it better for that client. Okay? How about this? Because your cardiologist is your top priority, and you take 3 medications, and you want protection from surprise costs, this option appears to be a better fit for you. And let me show you why. The second statement is stronger because the reason comes from the client, not from the popularity or habits or what is easier to present. And if you could have 3 priorities, complete this sentence. Based on what you told me, and coach, be clear, be specific, and confident enough to be able to give them whatever plan you are going to recommend based on their needs. Now, confidence also means knowing when it's the right time to recommend and when not to move forward yet. All right, so that's very important to understand. Here's where we're going to talk. Sometimes the most trustworthy answer is not yet. Trust grows when a client sees we're willing to slow down, verify, or say no. Pause the sale when important information is missing. Example includes incomplete medication details, unverified doctors, unclear eligibility, or missing authorizations. Folks, if you're doing Medicare, especially if you're doing the dual market, you need to verify that they're on Medicaid. If you're doing ACA, you need to verify a lot of things there, including income and all that stuff. You have to put it all together. When a client does not understand the trade-offs, agreement is not enough. The client should understand what option does well, what it costs, and what limitations apply. Pause when the decision is being rushed. Pressure may come from the agent, a deadline, or even a family member. Urgency does not eliminate our responsibility to be accurate or clear. I've had clients that said to me, I trust you. Just put me in what you want. I need to know what you need, what's good for you. And I have had I had clients that have told me that. I trust what you do. Well, I'm glad you trust me, but you need to understand how this works. Pause when the option truly does not fit. A plan may solve one problem while it creates a bigger one. So be careful with that. Model, I do not want you to make the decision without the information we still need. Let me verify the doctors, the medications first, and then we review the options together. So I always say I would rather lose one enrollment than lose a client's trust. Think about that. Right now, during AEP, and I'm going to throw this in here. During AEP, it's a good time to start now. August, today's the 10th of August, starting today. Hey, Mr. Client, hey, I know I got plenty of time, but I need to get a list of your medications and your doctors, and I want to put them in there. If you're not using a Retire Flow, a Search and Save, or whatever to get that information, you need to get into that and do that ASAP. This is the time to do it before the madness comes in. I'd rather have all that information up front with time. We can always edit or change things when the time comes. So if something changed from here to there, that's fine. We can edit it. It's a lot easier than putting a lot of things in there. Ethical decisions protect the clients, the agent, and LTDT Insurance. So what is one of the warning signs that tell you to slow down? Let's try some examples here. A sale is not the finish line. The sale is not a finish line. It's the start line of a relationship. Most trust is won or lost after the application. Number one, what you need to do is confirm. What happens next? Review the effective date, the premiums, the payment process, documents that the client may receive, and how to contact us. Check the enrollment. Check for the enrollment and ID cards. Do not assume that silence matters means anything. Don't assume that silence from a client means everything is fine. A short check-in can catch a problem before the client needs care. So good habit to get into. Support, questions and problems. Clients may receive a letter they don't understand or have a billing issue, need help with a doctor, or wonder how to use a benefit. We may not control every outcome, but we can own the next step and keep the client informed. Number 4, review. Doctors, drugs, coverage, and life changes every year. Plans change. Providers' participation changes. Medications change, which we're going to see a lot of that in the Medicare world this year. Income and travel experience can change. The annual review is part of the promise. Again, this is what we're setting up right now for October 1st. October 1st, I thought it was the 15th. No, October 1st. October 1st is when we start reviewing our Medicare clients and getting them information and setting them up for October 15th. It's called the annual review. Every promise needs an owner and a date. If you tell a client you will call them Friday and you put them in the CRM before, you put it in your CRM before moving to the next tax. Make sure you put in your calendar. That's the bottom line. And call them. When the client consistently feels supported, they can easily explain our values to other people. And that's when referrals happen. And we talked about referrals a lot. I believe it was last week. They're not created by clever scripts alone. They're the results of felt values. Clients refer when they can describe what we did for them in one simple sentence. She listened. The client felt heard. Wow. She made it simple. The client understood. He helped me when I had a problem. The client felt supported. Now, those statements are powerful because they describe an experience, not a product. Most clients cannot explain every benefits in their plans, but they do remember how we made them feel and whether we showed up when they needed help. Be referable first. Then make the invitation simple. Try this wording. If someone you care about is confused about their insurance or need a second opinion, I would be happy to help them the same way. Great referral. All right, so let's get into some cases here. I believe these are. Let's walk through Maria's situation. Okay, don't pressure. Do not jump into the products. Start with their priorities. So we're using Jeanette here, and Maria wants to keep her cardiologist. That's probably one of the things she wants. Okay, yeah, here we go. Keep her cardiologist. And she wants to protect 3 medications that she's taken. And she's also interested in limit surprise costs. And she does visit family outside of the state. What would you verify before? Let me ask you all a question. Here you go. And you can put it in the chat if you want. What would you verify before recommending anything? Any questions, answers? Let me see where this went. Okay, well, let's try this. Is the cardiologist in the network? And at which location? Location makes a difference too, because a doctor can be good at one place and not take it somewhere else. Maybe he works at 2 practices. What medications are on the formulary? What tiers, restrictions, or prior authorization applies? Which pharmacy provides the best pricing? How about what are the copays, the deductibles, and the maximum exposure or max out of pocket? What coverage or network rules apply while traveling? And what monthly cost feels comfortable? Again, we can connect us all to cost, access, and protection. Cost compares the financial picture, not only the premium. Access verifies the cardiologist, their providers, their pharmacies, and their travel needs. And protection, consider what happens if Maria has a bad health year or needs more cardiac care. A 0 or lower premium may still fit the best for the client, but only if we confirm the complete picture. The point is not that the lowest premium is bad. The point is that premium alone cannot determine the fit. Close the case with, based on what you told me, keeping your cardiologist and medications protection while limiting surprises cost matters the most. Here's my opinion. I recommend blah blah blah, and here are the trade-offs and what it requires and why it fits those priorities. Knowledge becomes skill when we use it. So let's talk about your weekly challenges. Okay, and I'm going to give you some challenges. Try this with your next 5 client conversations and complete them. Ask one deeper question. Go beyond the first request and find the needs that are underneath. Summarize what you heard. Say something like, let me make sure I understood you correctly, and repeat the client's priorities. Explain one trade-off. Tell the client the options, what it does well, where they could pay more, and what they may give up. and make a personal recommendation. Use this phrase: based on what you told me, blah 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 blah, and connect the recommendations to the client's actual priorities. And complete one promise follow-up. Do it when you say you would, and close the loop with the client. Make this challenge measurable. 5 conversations, 5 trust moments, 5 completed follow-ups. Document the trust behavior used and follow up. Whether you use Agent CRM or whatever you're using for CRM. Do not place sensitive information on a shared worksheet. Very crucial. That is really a big violation. Don't get caught in that. If you were to choose the first client conversations what would apply? In other words, go ahead and choose people, okay? Get a specific commitment and use it more with general intention. The key is try this and see how it works. You're going to find out you will be a much better agent doing this. So before we close, let's return to that guide on how LTDT Insurance serves its people. Famous line: take care of the people, and the people will take care of you. Become a trusted advisor. That's our motto. We care of the people when we listen before explaining. We take care of people when we verify doctors and medications. We take care of people when we explain the cost and limitations honestly. We take care of the people when we pause instead of pressuring. And we take care of the people when we follow through after the enrollment. Folks, I'm gonna open up to questions, but I do want to do something differently before we go into the questions. I want to, I've been using a lot of images and a lot of things going on here, and I do want to thank some of the people that I'm using, and I'm using them in my in my presentations here, and I want to thank Jeanette, Judith, Kevin, Lori, Norvin, Rachel, Tom, and Belinda. I use them and abuse them a lot, but you know what? I appreciate them for allowing me to do that. So with that all said, I always like to, let's get Belinda back in there. With that said, if anybody's got any questions, either open up the mics and let me know. Questions, comments, concerns, or anything I can do to help. Don't all jump at once. Oh, only because I used you and kept popping you in and out. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you very much. But Belinda, Belinda, let me ask you a question. Out of these Monday Mastery trainings, how many years have you been in insurance? Okay. Do you learn anything from these lessons? Amanda, I see your hand raised. Just open the mic and make yourself, unless you want to chat in there. Either way, chat or. I appreciate that. And yes, if you're new to insurance, this could be very helpful because a lot of people teach you the products and all the things that you have to do and your licensing and whatever it might be. My goal in this series or training that I do on Monday mornings is more the how tos, the things that most people don't think. That's why I appreciate Belinda what you said. I know Judith constantly remind me. Judith has probably about 100 years of selling insurance, and then I have some people that are new. So welcome, Amanda. Feel free to pop in every Monday. We do something different every week. As a matter of fact, let me go there. Uh, So I always this is my little commercial, so don't mind the commercial. So if you're not currently, are you with Owen Insurance Group or are you? Okay, okay, great. So if you're not contracted with Owen, this is more for my YouTube audience. If you're not Owen Insurance Group or affiliated with LTDT Insurance, which is my company, which is under Old Insurance Group, and you want to get more information, I'm not asking for contracts, but if you wanted to join our team or you want to just ask questions, you have my contact information there. My number is 941-258-4777. You got my email there and everything else. I do want to give you an idea of what we're doing next week. And we're going to talk about storytelling. So next week is storytelling that's as sales. Uh, let's turn clients with more stories, and they're not necessarily stories like, "Hey, Mary had a little lamb" or something like that. But it's going to be something that's going to be personal to them, or experiences that you've gone through. That's what we're going to talk about. Anybody else have anything else to say? Let me see who else. John, can you make sure I don't miss anybody? Great. Oh, look who's there. Fiji's in the house. That's a private joke, by the way. Welcome, Fiji. Lynn. Judith, you've been pretty quiet today. Okay, guys. If no one else has any questions, comments, or concerns, then I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Last chance. All right. You guys have a blessed week. Oh, make sure if you didn't see that, let me just go back up here a second. If you didn't see that, is this one? Make sure you're here Wednesday, okay, for our cafeteria plans thing. It's a way to make extra money. So please make sure you register. If you don't have this, send me a text message. Thank you, Dennis. If you don't have this information, you must need to register. So make sure you should have got an email if you did get my emails and be there because good money. And I'll explain that on Wednesday. So guys, let me throw these in here. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Judith. And thank you, Lynn. And look at that. Guys, you have a blessed day. You all take care.